Hello guys, and welcome to a new Warno video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 1 vs 1 on Black Forest, and I'm going to be playing with the 5th French Armoured Division. I'm going to be up against Tiberius-Rancor, who is going to be using the 35th Guards Air Assault Brigade. And this is game 1 of a best of 3 in round 3 of the 2nd WARNO League Super Tournament, ran by Prodos and the Simulated Divisions League. So some of you might be asking, what happened to round 2? Where's that game? Well, I actually got a bye through round 2 of the tournament after winning, obviously, and getting through round 1. So I didn't have to do another best of 1 to continue in the round of 16. I've moved straight on to the round of 8 players, and now we have best of 3s. So I'm going to be playing against Tiberius-Rancor in this one. And as you can see, I opted to go for the 5th French. There were picks and bans. I'll quickly talk about them. I decided to ban Gruppierung. It is a reasonably strong infantry division, has some good close range specialist infantry, as well as some other really scary tools like Buratinos and stuff, so just got rid of that. And then Tiberius, he banned the 11th Parachutiste. Might have saw that I played it previously and didn't want to play against it, particularly on a forested map like this, where airborne infantry can be really strong. And the 2nd UK for a similar reason, but 2nd UK just a very strong unit at the moment and a strong division. So I've landed on the 5th, and my strategy was actually going to be quite similar to that of the 11th Parachutiste. So I went for the 5th because it's kind of a similar counter to the 35th in that it can control the skies with a lot of fighters. So you see I have got a Mirage F1C 200 out at the start, and we'll quickly go through the rest of the units that I have here. So I've got some VLRAs with the Aclareux. These guys have launchers, so they can take out light armor and medium armor relatively well. The AMX-10 RC, really fast recon tank with decent firepower, 17 penetration on that main gun, very nice indeed. I've got another recon squad heading to the right hand side, we've got one heading to the far left hand side, just making sure to cover off all my flanks and stuff from enemy helicopters sneaking around the sides. Then I'm going to be following up with some commandos here. As you can see, a couple of AMX-13s with the 20mm autocannons on them. They're going to be carrying some sapper flamethrowers into the forest. I've got some grenadiers and commandos moving into the backside of Charlie. Got a P4 PC, going to be trying to cap Delta early on and then move into Charlie. Then I've got some more grenadiers, commandos moving up to take some buildings on the left side, hit Charlie, followed by an AMX-30B2. You see I've already purchased a 2nd Mirage F1C. The main way that I'm going to beat the 35th in this situation is by killing his MiGs. So he's going to have potentially 4 MiGs total, depending on how he built his deck. And I've got to kill those in order to win the game. So here's the first one. He did have it out. My Mirage came out and spotted it. And we're going to be doing a head-on. I managed to get a bit of damage onto the MiG-29, but I don't manage to force it back. I'm hoping to come round and kill it off, but my Mirage is unfortunately being a little bit unreliable. Meanwhile, I'm going to be engaging some of his initial infantry on the right-hand side there. I managed to get rid of the MiG-29 with the 2nd F1C, and that one going to be retreating. This one coming round for a strafing run onto the enemy troops here. A little bit of a strafing run with the 30mm in the nose of that F1C. Another MiG-29 coming in, and this is exactly what I want to see because I can just keep bringing in more Mirages. And we're going to continue with these dogfights. We're going to try and shoot that down. And there we go. Beautiful stuff. Both the Mirages cross paths and take down the MiG-29s. So that is already 2 of his MiG-29s taken care of, which is really, really big for me. Got an MI8 out as well. That's another great target for my planes, and this is really what I want to try and take advantage of with the 5th French in this case. With the 11th Pala, I'd be doing exactly the same thing. Mirage F1Cs, harassing all of the helicopters that he brings in and all of the aircraft. So the sappers have gone into position here. The 20mm is going to try and take care of the SPG-9 before it gets taken out. And then I'm going to have to try and juggle his infantry here a little bit so that I can kill off the Spetsnaz and allow my sapper padder to, or just sappers in this case, to win that engagement. So VIB's moved up here. I've moved it up really close so that it can't be engaged by the Metis. The Metis has a minimum range of 300 meters, so keeping the VAB on top of that infantry squad means it can't actually be engaged by the Metis. VLRA here doing a similar job, but in this case the VLRA doesn't have armor, so the sniper here, Spetsnaz sniper, and the Desarniki are going to be able to kill that eventually. But here comes the Mirage 3, going to be bringing that in, strafing the Desarniki Metis. We do take hits from manpads though, so that one's going to have to fall back. The Mirage 3E is actually the cheapest Mirage that I have. It's only 155 points. The Mirage F1C 185 points. But I brought the Mirage F1Cs in earlier because they are a little bit more effective and they have a bit more ECM there, as you can see. Mirage 3 only has 10% ECM. Quite a big difference. So Sapper, I keep wanting to call them Sapper Padder because in the 11th you have the Sapper Padder with flamethrowers, but in this case they're just normal sappers. I'm trying to get them on target of the Spetsnaz and then using the 20mm fire support to get the extra damage down. Going to do a similar thing here where I get the AMX-30 to help support the Grenadiers, but I've got to be really careful of the Metis because the Metis HGM can actually do a decent amount of damage to an AMX-30 because it doesn't have much armor. An Mi-24 has come up and is going to try and do some damage to my 20mm AMX-13, so the Mirage F1C coming in does manage to get a shot on target there with its magic missile, and I'm not just calling it that, by the way, they're actually called magic missiles. We managed to take down a MiG-23 ML, which is good. I almost take out the MiG-29 back there. I did lose one of my F1Cs, but at least we took down both that Mi-24 and the MiG-23. Going to be strafing a unit on the left there once again. So this is good. All of these air trades that I'm making are really, really good for me in the long run because he's investing a lot of points into these planes and they're getting shot down almost every time. And he's also invested, of course, into that Mi-24 and we've managed to kill that as well. So I'm getting really, really deep now. You can see my Grenadiers now moving up. I've got some more infantry on the way, this time chasseurs coming in with the AMX-10P, which also has the 20mm autocannon on it. The VLRA here going to try and provide some 50 cal fire towards the Igla and the Desarniki Metis squad. I did manage to unload my recon in time to avoid the Metis from getting the kill. Now strafing run coming in from the Mirage 3 onto the Igla squad, which you might think is pretty risky, but the trouble with the Igla squads is they don't really have much in the way of damage. So two of those Igla squads can hit my Mirage 3 and it's still going to be alive. So I'm able to quite safely strafe that unless he really invests a lot into his anti-air, which he really does need to do to stop me from taking full advantage of this air. You see I've got now 3 Mirage 3s, I've got 2 Mirage F1Cs, and I've now got the Jaguar bombing strike coming in, using my air advantage to take out those Desarniki Metis squads. Meanwhile on the right hand side I'm going to be trying to micro the AMX-13s and AMX-10Ps to get rid of the Spetsnaz, the Spetsnaz OP, but I want to be able to take out the Spetsnaz OP so that I can engage the Spetsnaz with the 20mm without threat of this RPG-29. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. I've got everything targeting the Spetsnaz OP, but it's just not quite doing the job. The Spetsnaz OP surviving for the time being until the F1C there gets a little bit more damage on target. Spetsnaz now going to try and get on top of my chasseurs, but don't see the AMX-10 in the water here, and that gets them killed. Now Mirage 3 heading on with the MiG-29. F1C coming in immediately after, goes for a little bit of a strafing run there, finishes off the Spetsnaz OP, now chasing the MiG-29 into the spawn, hoping for a kill. Manages to get the shot with the 30mm cannons, and job well done. Another MiG-29 down. I'm really, really loving this right now, but my sector on the left here, Delta, is going to be decapped, which is not great. It's going to push a +2 for Tiberius in this game. He's currently up almost 400 points, so I'm going to have to do something about that, but I'm still very much happy with the way that the game has gone so far in regards to trading. You know, I've killed so much stuff already and barely lost anything. I've lost like 1 Mirage that was significant. taking down the MI8 there as well. You see, I'm so confident using these fighters because I'm well aware that he's only really got Iglas in here, and so the Mirages don't have to really care that much. But yeah, I am going to have to try and find the leader that was on the left-hand side, because I don't want him to full cap Delta, because that is a +2 sector. It's now pushed it to a +5, as he has taken full control of this sector as well. But the Grenadiers have found their way to the backside of the sector, and we're going to snipe his command. That is the UAZ going down there, and the Descent Iglas also running into those Grenadiers, which is really, really good for me, taking out some of his anti-air. These Recon and the Grenadier Voltages now finding his Desaniki Metis. On this right hand side, the Commandos going to be engaging the SPG-9, and managed to take out another of the Jeeps there. So my Grenadiers getting to the left here. P4PC going to try and go and contest this area. I know that I've just killed his command here, so my plan was to get the P4PC into this sector, full cap it, and then drive back to Delta after we find the command with the Alouette. So F1C coming in again for strafing runs primarily, and obviously it gives me a consistent air presence, which might allow me to bring in more planes at some point if I need to, but I'm also supplementing with more infantry. We do have more Grenadier Voltages on the way, some Commandos. But the nice thing about this 30mm fire is it does help dramatically with these infantry engagements. So able to get the better of the Desaniki Metis. The Alouettes, they're not finding anything, so I'm going to assume that he hasn't left his command in the sector. So my P4PC coming in from spawn just to cap that, so that I don't have to send this one back in case he decides to try and contest it. Now Tiberius-Rancor falling for the trap even more as he brings in 2 Mi-24 VAAs. He's got another fighter on the way as well. And at this point, it's really just folly for him, because he's not going to win against the amount of fighters that I have after he's already lost like 4 fighters of his own. So the Mi-24s, they are going to get some damage down. As you can see, 1 Mi-24 down, managed to get a bit of damage onto the second one as well, and we're going to kill that off in short order. Another of his commands going to be found by the VAB and the Commandos, so looking to take that out. But there goes the Mi-24V for absolutely no kills whatsoever. Really, really bad trades for him. VAB doing a good job of rushing down the commander there. Commandos currently struggling to get into cover, but if they can, then I might be able to get some AT on target of that T-64. Anyway, Commandos finish off the command jeep. AMX-10 moving into this sector. I've got the Alouette. It's going to be moving up the left-hand side to see what's going on there, because he did cap this previously, so he must have had a command here somewhere at some point. Now Mirage 5 coming in, looking for the cluster strike onto the BRDM to leader. Unfortunately, a nice kill there for his infantry. Takes out the AMX-10 Blindee, which is not great. My cluster obviously missed the BRDM, and the commando is now going to be going down. And these are losses that are going to start to hurt me a little bit throughout this game. But I have found the +1. Having full control over Bravo, contesting Charlie, means I am starting to catch back up on Conquest score. Another aircraft is in the sky, which is an opportunity for me to bring in more Mirages. So looking to try and take advantage of that. This Mirage 5, it does have 20% ECM, so the MiG-29 struggling to hit it. 2 Mirage 3s going to try and take it out. You see the Mirage has found the BRDM. I'm going to be looking for the cluster strike. I shouldn't really be right-click targeting it like that, because it's going to try and predict where the BRDM is going, and it's going to cause me to miss like that. I should have probably just fire positioned on the road or something and guessed where he was going to go. I did lose a VAB here on the road as well to the Metis squads. Those Metis are actually really, really scary to deal with at the moment. They're very, very difficult to deal with, because they will be relatively accurate and one-shot all of your APCs and stuff. Yeah, this Grenadier now in trouble. on the backside, outnumbered by the Thessaloniki and the SPG-9, providing good fire support there. The T-64 is moving up. That's trying to find and kill my P4PC, I reckon. So just trying to get the commandos to engage the T-64 with their LRAC. In the front armor though, not going to be doing too much damage. This does have 14 front armor, this only has 15 penetration, and it's, I think, technically a heat rocket, so we're really not doing much damage there. And in Mirage 3, going to finish off an Mi-8. The good thing about killing the Mi-8 there is that it stops him from selling it, and therefore he has less units overall that he can call in. So now I'm looking for caps on the far left and right side. I'm trying to clear out anything that's left in these buildings. So you can see the Alouette is moving over here to discover units that are left, and I'm going to be just strafing them to death with the fighters, and then that's going to allow me to move the P4PC up here unscathed and also undetected, so that I can maybe get into Foxtrot and cap that from under his nose. I'm also going to be trying to do the same thing on the right hand side. The P4PC is going to be moving up here. I got the VLRA all the way into the backside of that sector by driving up the road, so I know that the P4PC can likely make the same trip. Here VAB on the road at the back does manage to capture a couple of his UAZ supply vehicles, so that must be very annoying for him. But I'm going to move them back, and we're going to fix up and resupply any units in the trees here. Now we have a couple of ZU-23s that I'm going to have to be careful of. These are the trucks with the 20 mils on the pack. The Alouette doing a run at F1C. Doesn't have to worry too much because they have extremely limited range, but I do have to be careful with my P4PC. Those 20 mils will tear that little Jeep to pieces. F1C on the right, got to get rid of that. Mi-24K, because that's going to spot my P4PC coming up otherwise. So a second F1C coming in to make sure that the job is well done. You can hear meanwhile that the 30 mil of this F1C took out the Igla. And you can see how much that the French Air Force can really dominate the 35th. The 35th, it basically relies almost entirely on its MiGs. And if you don't outnumber the French every time you go for the fighter engagements, you're going to lose. And that's something that Tiberius just fell for, hook, line and sinker so far. Even bringing in helicopters is just futile in this situation. And whilst I am getting transport sniped here and there, losing pretty significant units to these transport snipes as well, it's not really mattering because I'm so far ahead in kills overall due to all of these aircraft and helicopters that I've taken out. P4PC did manage to run its way through the trees here. We managed to full cap Foxtrot. I've managed to full cap this right hand sector as well, Echo, which is giving me the +7. F1C currently trying to strafe a Thessaloniki Metis squad on the right hand side there. And these commandos, they had 2 shots to hit the BMD2 and they missed both. Really, really bad for me. The commandos now going to have to provide or get support from my aircraft to stay alive. But you see here the Grenadiers have moved into position to cover off the road, so I'm cutting off his reinforcements coming into the backside of this town, and then I'm just going to constantly reinforce here and eventually push that out. At least that was the plan. So Mirage 3, no strafing run, does manage to help me kill off the Thessaloniki BMD, and now I've got Jaguar coming in with the bombing strike onto the BMD2. I've got the cluster coming in for the T-64B, so we're going to take out the T-64. Didn't quite kill the BMD2. Unfortunately, my infantry here is going to get killed off. On the left-hand side, another cluster bomber does take out both of the ZU-23-2s. So Tiberius-Rancor in complete disarray at the moment under the attack of my aircraft. Mirage 3, another lovely strafing run. Gets the job done. Have to be really careful here with the P4PC, but I was currently running away from the Mi-24V that's chasing me down. So another aircraft going to have to come in. Here we go. Mirage 3 on its way, looking for the Mi-24V kill. Super important that we do take it out. Commandos going down very, very quickly indeed. Unfortunately, Mirage 3 doesn't quite get the job done in one run, so second Mirage is going to be needed. And that should finish the job. Meanwhile, the P4PC just got to keep running away from the Thessaloniki Metis, maintain the +5 as long as we can to get a lead on our opponents. And once again, another helicopter Tiberius just didn't learn, and the Mirage 3 are going to come in here and make a very short work of that, and the Akula goes down. So Grenadiers moving up all over the place. I've even got the Recon Infantry moving up on the right hand side. I've got the Grenadier Vultures moving up on the left hand side. We're going to be eventually pushing through to the backside of Charlie, so I can full cap that as well. And we're currently doing exceptionally well in this game. Grenadier Vulture's going to have to fall back. We do find a little bit of infantry here, but yeah, basically any time I find enemy infantry, we're currently just strafing them. And the only way that Tiberius really could have dealt with this is if he'd kept his MiG-29s alive, and also if he had invested into more AA in sort of concentrated areas. So bring in like 4 or 5 igloos, maybe in the town here, for example, all in the same place, so that when my Mirage flies over them, all 5 fire, and you have a lot higher chance of shooting them down. So MiG-23 going to dodge multiple missiles there. Thessaloniki Metis is going to be able to find a Metis shot towards the P4PC and takes it out while I wasn't paying attention. A little bit unfortunate on my end. MiG-23 does get the better of at least one of my aircraft. Now I've got the Jaguar even coming in with its air-to-air missiles, hoping to get on the back of the MiG-23, but not quite able to. Now these infantry unloading earlier this time to make sure that they don't get transport sniped by the SPG-9s and Conkers and Metis squads that are hanging about. I've even got a couple of AMX-30 B2s coming over the horizon. The French tanks coming down the valley, look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. These at close range will dominate the 264B, as long as they can get shots on target. And you can see that they missed the first, managed to hit the second, and then he's going to smoke. MiG-29 coming in again. This is the last MiG-29 that he has. So as long as I can keep that out of the skies and force him to keep repairing it, that is very, very good for us. But ideally what he wants to do here is use that in combination with the MiG-23 MLs. 85mm gun here, going to get taken out. These D44s are very scary to deal with since the latest patch. In the latest patch in WARNO, they basically made it so that AT guns don't get one-shot by tanks anymore. They act like infantry squads. So they're a bit harder for tanks to kill. Nice ambush here though. Tiberius-Rancor mismicroing his BMD-2s. He should have known that my MX-30s were here because his T-64 got killed off. He does manage to unload the Thessaloniki anyway and kill one of my MX-30s. Only one managed to get off smoke, so I'm going to try and get that to reverse. Meanwhile, F1C takes out the MI-24K, and my AMX-30 going to be moving up on the right to engage the rest of the units there. So we're only on a +3, but +3 is still good for me. I'm going to win in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Echo is currently not contested anymore because the P4PC went down. So the main thing that I need to do right now is just be annoying over here at Foxtrot and obviously clear out this town. So I'm going to be bringing in some more reinforcements. My Grenadiers have managed to take care of the annoying SPG-9 squads. So yeah, just got to secure the backside of this town, pile loads of infantry in there, get some extra tanks in, and then we should be good. And it's funny, this game, obviously I'm playing the 5th French Armoured. We didn't actually use that much armour. The AMX-10Ps did come in handy, like my 20mm vehicles came in handy. The VABs, I guess, came in handy. And these AMX-30B2s, I had them in abundance in this deck. But otherwise, it was mainly down to the infantry here and my aircraft. The Recon squad on the right hand side does manage to get the LRAC on target. BRDM-2U goes down. So that gets rid of that leader. And look at this, the VAB still hanging around in the back line is going to capture 3 more of his Descent UAZs. Very, very nice. MiG-23 coming in on the left-hand side there for the Alouette. My F1C going for the strafe onto the BMD is going to leave it vulnerable to this MiG-23, but that has relatively short infrared missiles. It's also gonna miss all of the ones it does fire. So get away with that. F1C out alive. I don't have one that can chase down the MiG-23 immediately, so I've opted to bring in the Roland 3 finally on the hill. I've also got the Roland 3 on the left side here, as you can see, and that's going to be hitting the MiG-23, but not enough to stop it killing the Alouette. So more descent Nicholas going to be found in the town and taken out by the Grenadier Voltigeurs, and the commandos also trying to get into a good position here. At the moment, just kind of sneaking around as much as I can in these trees, get into awkward positions, take this supply away from him, for example. But at this point, Tiberius is going to go for the helicopter play. So Mi-8's coming in abundance, and he's going to be searching for my commands, since my Rolands weren't really in position yet. He is going to be able to get pretty deep with these. I can't really stop the Mi-8s unless I use my fighters, and my fighters aren't really ready to go. If my fighters were ready to go, these Mi-8s would have been completely futile, because I would have just poured in like 2 or 3 Mirages and they'd be shot down, each of them one by one. So all of these Mi-8s landing in the sector. It's actually not too bad if they land here, that's totally fine, because they can't cap it, right? They don't have a leader with them, so that's fine. On this left hand side though, the infantry does spot my leader, and it allows the Su-25 to get the kill. Now my Mirage do come in there, and they're able to shoot down the Su-25. We're also going to go for the cluster strike now onto the T-64, and we're able to take that out. So killed off the unit that capped back Foxtrot, and now the P4PC is going to be able to move back in there and capture that sector. But what I've got to do is clean out the infantry that's been landed in front of me here, so that my AMX-30s can move forwards once again. On their own, it's going to be pretty futile. F1C though needs to get rid of this Mi-8, so coming in for the kill there, managed to get it. And the P4PC now safe to move back in, because you can see that he was lining up the Su-25 in order to kill that off. Now going head on with the MiG-29, the last of them is going to get taken out, and that is wonderful. Now coming round onto the back of the Su-25. Not any missiles left. Su-25 is going to be able to get the run onto the AMX-30. Roland 3 finds the kill onto the Su-25. Beautiful stuff. So yeah, P4PC just needs to move back in here, get that capped up so we can keep ticking the points, because we are very, very close to victory. His Thessaloniki push with his helicopters didn't quite pay off, and I've got so much stuff deep in his lines that he can't really use his reinforcement like unharassed. But in this case, Ronin 3 are going to get picked off. These Thessaloniki landing in the bottom line. I will say it was a little bit annoying, but now the Alouette going to be coming in, going to allow me to get some like Jaguar bombs on target or something like that. I'm also able to use the sappers with the 20 mils to engage the Thessaloniki here. But currently autocannon's really not that effective against infantry, so that's why I keep strafing stuff. MX-13, I'm going to be using its 30 mils to engage. This is the DCA. This is an anti-air unit. I brought them in. Once I saw the helicopters, they're going to stop them from doing it again, hopefully. So MX-30 on the right, going to get rid of that Thessaloniki Metis. We got rid of the Thessaloniki on the backside there. In the trees here, I'm hoping that my MX-30s can get the better of the Thessaloniki BMD, because this one is the one with the 142mm gun, which is really good. Yeah, here comes the F1C looking for the Mirage or the Mi-8. When helicopters crash, everything inside dies now, so it's a good kill. VABPC on the backside of this sector, going to full cap as well. So full capped Foxtrot, we're going to full cap Charlie. That's going to put me on a +4 in the trees. The MX-30 killed off the Thessaloniki. The F1C here is going to kill the Mi-8 as well, allowing the Grenadier Voltigeurs to get the kill. And that is going to be a victory for game 1 of this best of 3. So, 27 minutes 48 seconds, 6,520 kills to 3,770 losses. A pretty dominating game, I would say. We definitely had his number from the start. My strategy to use the French Air Force against the 35th worked out exactly as planned. So yeah, unfortunately the 35th just countered by French aircraft because those dual 30 mils in the nose of the Mirages, incredibly effective at taking down helicopters. And helicopters are really what the 35th relies on as their primary form of fire support. And the other thing is they need to use MiG-29s in order to cover their air. And so if you can get the better of the MiG-29s, then they have no air cover or anti-air cover. And the Iglers are all that he really has left after that. But in abundance, the Iglers can work. You just got to make sure you invest into enough of them to stop the Mirages being a problem. But you can see these Mirages doing incredibly well. This one killing 2 MiG-29s and an Mi-24V. This one killing a MiG-23, MiG-29, Mi-24s. You got the Mi-8s in there. This Commando did very well. That was the one that snuck through on the far side of the right sector, I believe. Another Mirage F1C getting plenty of kills. And it's pretty much all in my Air Force. You know, the Mirage 5's getting some good cluster kills in there. Also killing off some enemy aircraft as well. And of course, my infantry that I was managing to sneak through to the back lines was getting good transport snipes. There were plenty of transport snipes in this game that I could have avoided myself personally, but it was a pretty chaotic game. And yeah, I think I managed it well, regardless. But that is going to be game 1, so it puts me 1 up in this best of 3 in the round of 8 or quarterfinals. Hoping to take a second game and move on to the semi-finals, but we'll have to wait and see if that happens. That's it for now. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.